Now, here's another question. Now that we're in the retrospective parts of our lives, when you look back at WCW, what would you say is something that you would have done different or you regret doing?
I don't regret any of it, Conan. Right. And I say that I mean that 100%. Look, truth be told, I was learning on the job.
Right.
I was a third string announcer turned executive producer turned vice president of the company in a period of about a year.
Right.
So there were so many things I didn't have experience with or had ever been exposed to. And I think one of the things I don't regret any of it because I think I did the best I could do. And I've had such an amazing life as a result of it that it's hard to say, oh, I regret that. I don't regret anything. My kids have seen things and done things and experienced things that as a parent you can only hope to offer your kids as a result of me being in the business I'm in. So there's that. But if I go back and say, man, if I could give, if the 64-year-old me could give advice to the 40-year-old me,
maybe that's a better question.
It would be, hey, motherfucker, play ball. This isn't your show. Play ball. Learn to get along, even with people you don't necessarily want to get along with. And I'm talking about the food chain up above me corporately.
Do you think that was from you personally because you're personally rebellious, or did you get a little bit of that gravitas from some of the rebellious guys in the locker room, like Colin Nash and guys like that?
No, brother, I ran away from home when I was 5 years old. And I went around my neighborhood and I picked up pop bottle caps. I obviously don't remember this, but my parents told me. Yeah. I went around, I spent half a day picking up pop bottle caps, and then I spent the next half of the day selling them door to door so I could save up enough money to get away from home. Right. So I've always been an entrepreneur. Right. I've always kind of wanted to do the things everybody told me couldn't ever be done. If you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to work really fucking hard to prove you wrong. That's always been a part of me. So no, I wasn't influenced by any of the boys at all when it came to that. Once I got the nod, and keep in mind, and this is the thing that people forget, it wasn't just all about me and my rebellious or my nature, my entrepreneur nature, whatever you want to call it. Ted Turner was an entrepreneur. Ted Turner loved people that took risks. Ted Turner rewarded people who took. Ted Turner took risks every day of his career. He did things that everybody told him was insane and stupid and could never be done. That was the culture at Turner Broadcasting when I took over. It wasn't until late 98 when all of a sudden the culture was changing and dumbass me didn't quite see it and decided, no, I'm going to keep doing the shit I've been doing because this shit's been working for 3 years. Well, little did I know, because of my lack of experience and knowledge, I didn't realize that there was a whole new culture of people coming in up above me that didn't give two shits about Ted Turner. If I would have been smart enough to see that coming, it wouldn't have changed anything. Ultimately, it just would have lasted longer.
Why do you think they didn't give a shit about Ted Turner, the brilliant man and the maverick that he was, not to mention the founder of the place?
Because I'll never forget, Conan, I went to a Christmas party right after the Time Warner and Turner merger was announced. And it was in the president of Turner Broadcasting at the time was at his house. And I was like the token wrestling guy, we got a wrestling company. We should invite them over. Right. Because it was all the super execs from CNN and, all the movie divisions and the head of TBS, the head of TNT, all the bigwigs were there. And I was there. And I remember Gerald Levin from Time Warner standing up and giving a speech to all of us Turner employees for Christmas and saying, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened in media. You've got the legacy and the infrastructure and the strength of Time Warner, which is pretty fucking huge at the time. And then you've got this entrepreneurial culture of Turner Broadcasting. And we're going to bring the entrepreneurial culture of Turner Broadcasting and bring it into Time Warner, and together we're going to be unstoppable, or something to that effect. And I remember going, fuck, this is going to be awesome. This is great. But what happens, that's not what happens. When one company acquires another company, the company getting acquired eventually becomes the parent company. Culturally, philosophically, ideologically, risk-wise. And all of a sudden, Turner Broadcasting was being run as a bank, not as an entrepreneurial entertainment company the way it had been. under Ted Turner. So why did they want to eat Ted Turner? Because they had to get him out of the way. He was a relic in their eyes. He didn't fit the new world of Steve Case. Perfect example from AOL. Here's a 28-year-old, 32-year-old fucking internet bubble billionaire. He didn't have any time for Ted Turner. He didn't care about the fact that he launched the first global 24-hour news network. Didn't make a shit to him. It had nothing to do with the internet.
Wow, that's very interesting and very true. Now that you say that like that, and the other thing that to me is weird is they probably looked at, even with the great ratings we had and everything, they probably just looked, oh, that's one of Ted Turner's projects, wrestling, right?
Well, it wasn't so much that they looked down on it because it was Ted Turner's project, but they looked down at it because it was wrestling. Now, to a degree, I understand that. You know, if you look at, and I've been in the television as an independent television producer and now going off into feature films. I live in that world and have been living in that world for the last 15 or 16 years. One of the things you learn as an independent producer whose job is to kind of create good ideas and then try to pitch them to a network is that every so often networks change their brand. For example, you know, TBS wanted to be the comedy network, you know, TNT was going to be the drama network. And they only want content that fits that kind of brand category. So to have wrestling on TBS, because wrestling isn't really comedy, it can be funny, but it's not really comedy. There's storylines, but it's not really drama. There's action, but it's not really sports. You know, it's just like this odd fucking duck.
Yeah, yeah, like a platypus. You know, have you ever seen that with the fucking beak and the, you know? Yeah. And
television executives who aren't wrestling fans go, well, what is this thing?
Right.
What is this? You know? And since they can't really wrap their heads around what it is, they tend just to not want it. And that's what happened with you know, people say, oh, what killed WCW? What killed WCW is AOL Time Warner didn't want wrestling on the network. That's it. It wouldn't have mattered if the ratings and the revenue would have been completely reversed. We would have gotten yanked because we didn't fit the bigger picture that they had at that time.
And plus, that they didn't know that in the year 2019, you could be drawing just $2 million, 2 million viewers on a Monday night and still be making $123 million in revenue. Right on a company like that. If they would have known that, they would have never gotten rid of wrestling, you know? So it's
amazing when you think about, you know, when you think about what's a success now. You know, again, as an independent television producer, if I produce a 1 hour, you know, reality show that draws 800,000 viewers an episode, that's considered a hit. Back in our day,
right? I was like what?
That would have been considered, you know, kind of a free coupon to go to culinary school and pick up a different kind of a gig.
Right.
But that's how fragmented and fractionalized it's become. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gets those type of ratings anymore.
Nobody does, and it's going to become even more interesting because I think the technology is evolving at such a rapid pace. And anytime technology evolves rapidly, it becomes less and less expensive.
Right.
But you know, you're going to see more and more people having their own platforms that allows them to reach a worldwide audience for pennies on the dollar of what it used to cost. And that's nothing but exciting.
Right. 100%, because you can be your own content provider.
Yep.